Hey everyone. Okay, we're back. We're gonna wait a minute because people have to discover that this second live stream exists. Unfortunately, Kalen's vanity project of wanting to look good on his laptop led to it dying and us having to start another stream. So let me quickly share this.
Trying to make us look high production value.
High production value. That's one way you could put it.
Very good.
All right, gonna tweet this out.
People are joining. Very good.
The end of that live stream is atrocious. It's just us trying to switch computers. It's like terrible feedback.
Yep.
Did you give them the link in the live chat?
Yes.
Very good.
Twice.
All right. Oh, yeah, we've got like 400 people here now. Excellent. What were we talking about? You had more questions that
I do. So the last one was obviously, you didn't, well, it was about people going back to South Africa. So Stacey has said, I'm from South Africa originally, but I'm fortunate enough to live in the UK now. How would you suggest South Africa fulfills its potential and progresses in an ideal world?
How it would progress in an ideal world? Well, I think first of all, it should stop their, quite frankly, racist policies that, like, I think the Black economic empowerment policies, it's basically reverse affirmative action saying we are going to give preference to the majority population. You can only hire a small percentage of whites. I think that's absolutely racist, just as I think any sort of kind of affirmative action policies are. It's judging on skin color, not merit. So getting rid of that would really help the country. I know there have been huge issues with the energy sector. Everyone's seen Cape Town has until June, July before they run out of water because the energy sector is crumbling. They can't pump the water out anymore. And that's because they're firing very competent people simply because of their skin color. Then, of course, it's going to create huge tensions, stealing people's land over their skin color. There are going to be people that obviously I think will fight back because they have had this land for generations and generations and it's important to them and they don't have anywhere to go. So that's going to cause mass tensions. Genocide Watch is always ticking them up a level for the Boer people who are constantly just condemned and attacked by their government officials. So in a perfect world, you would have a party or officials rise to power who said, no, it's time to stop this nonsense. We don't want to become like Zimbabwe, because this isn't just a problem for white South Africans. Quite frankly, Black South Africans are going to suffer because of this as well. Everyone suffers in the case of a civil war. Everyone suffers when people who are competent, the best for a job, are fired. They're the ones that are giving water to the country. You've got white South Africans that are doing, and Black South Africans that are doing a great job farming. And if their land is taken away from them, they're not going to be able to feed the nation. And you will have starvation. The rand will drop even lower in value than it has in the last few years. And it's going to be bad overall for the First Nation, for the whole nation. So that obviously the rhetoric from the government has to stop and the racist policies have to stop. And there's going to be, I don't know if that's really going to happen, but maybe if there's some actual truth in the media that begins there, some truth from the international media, and some, at least, at the very least, condemnation from governments worldwide.
Dylan's asked a really good question. He said, considering the status of South Africa, is there any way that white farmers can have an effect on local government before any violence happens?
That's obviously the hope. When people obviously want to be able to make arguments and use democracy in a good way before things lead to violence. But it seems that the party that has been elected and the officials that have been elected, there are, I will mention this because I think it's important, there are government officials that did vote against the land grabs. There are people within the ANC who said, no, this is a bad idea. But unfortunately, it looks like the majority have decided this is going to go through. Expropriation without compensation. So what could have been done democratically before, it seems, has failed. And as such a small portion of the population, it's really difficult to push things. And it's also difficult because you will have white South Africans who are living in Cape Town or Johannesburg in gated communities with security guards and electric fences around them, reading Cosmo magazine and Vice all day, who say, of course there's no problem. Of course, there's no problem. That's just crazy right-wing conspiracy. But they've never been out and lived on one of these farms. They've never even been out to the more unsafe suburbs of Johannesburg or Pretoria or wherever. They've always been like the upper class elites, and they'll speak out against this as well. And they tend to have a lot of government influence, the wealthy and the richer upper class. So it's really difficult to say if things can be reversed. That's obviously the hope, but I'm no prophet. I couldn't tell you.
This is a question that's coming up a lot. Were things better under apartheid?
Once again, I've looked into this a lot. You can obviously the policies of apartheid. No one is saying apartheid is good when they say that the rand was worth more, for example. The murder rates and crime rates were less. These are just facts. No one is saying apartheid as a policy or policies that give any person of any skin color less rights is a good thing. But at that time, and I think this is actually a lot to apply to policies that are more Marxist that have come in the coming years as well. It's not to say apartheid is good, but objectively looking at crime stats and looking at the value of the rand and things, they were better at that time. But a lot of that can be attributed to the ANC. While yes, a anti-white party in some senses, is also a Marxist communist party. They put in a lot of Marxist communist just kind of agenda throughout the country, and that's really broken things down, as it does in most nations across the world. So to say it's because of apartheid, I think that's a causation does not equal correlation or whatever kind of thing. But objectively speaking, at that time, there were aspects that were better.
Something that was really shocking as well, I thought I'd add, was the fact that a few of the security guards that we met who were black, and a lot of the actual black people we met in South Africa, openly comfortably told us that they felt it was better.
They thought that, like, that was their opinion, but
which is really surprising to hear from someone who has lived in that country for so long. They said when you stole something, you were put in jail. When you killed someone, you were locked up. At least it was safe. And it actually is quite sad that in a country that's so broken, people look back to a period like apartheid and say even that was better.
Right, and that's not to say apartheid was good. That's to say things have gotten so damn bad that looking back at a time with apartheid, holy crap, like how bad has it gotten, And that's kind of like a lot of things in politics. You're looking at the best of the worst situations.
Yeah, well, exactly. That's what we saw there. American Spartan has said a friend of mine will be visiting South Africa in May. Do you have any advice I can give to her during her visit? How do you stay safe?
So we were going on a budget because I didn't do a lot of the crowdfunding before the trip. So we just kind of we were living on couches and stuff, and we didn't have security throughout the vast majority of the trip at all. So what we did was, I actually think having a local is more important than can be more important 40 guns with you. Having someone who knows which areas you should and shouldn't be, having someone who knows which highways you should and shouldn't drive on, what time of day. Like our local would tell us, the local that we had guiding us, who's from the Sightlanders, he was like, okay, we have to go out and drive at this time, and we have to be finished driving at this time. Otherwise, we are going to be on the road at a time where it's going to be highly dangerous. And so he knew what was safe and what was unsafe, and that was extremely important. So if your friend is meeting up with locals there, I think that's a really, really good thing. And the thing with South Africa, this is what we were told constantly, you can go and visit South Africa and have a lovely time and have absolutely nothing happen to you. You can go there for 2 weeks and cool, nothing happens. But if something does happen, it's that the consequences are so much greater than if they happen in any other part of the world. It's the crimes that happen certainly against white people, because you've got this very tribalistic country and this growing hatred towards whites from parties like the EFF and the mainstream media there. The crimes are horrific. It's not just going to be you get your purse stolen. It's going to be you get dragged away and raped and slaughtered and tortured, right? So you could have a perfectly good, lovely time, But on the slight chance that something does happen, they're highly horrific incidents. Something that I remember I was actually just sent a video of this happening. Oh man, I wish I could show you some of the WhatsApp groups I'm in from these farmers. Like I turn on my WhatsApp in the morning and I hit play on the messages and it's people yelling like, they've got guns, they're shooting in the store, they're shooting in the store. And I'm like, what the hell? So like, what is going on? And like they're sending me videos of, this is something that's become really common in South Africa. When you drive under bridges, a huge rock will just come through your windshield and it'll make the car stop or kill the person driving. And then there'll be a bunch of robbers waiting under the bridge to come and drag you out of the vehicle and beat you up, rape you, whatever, and take all your belongings. But like, it's so common that people are able to get videos of it now, of these rocks and bricks dropping through their windshields from the tops of bridges. It's becoming a really common thing. So like knowing to look out for that kind of stuff, knowing when you should and shouldn't drive where you should be, super important.
Yeah, you can feel the danger everywhere because everywhere you look, every single person knows someone who's either been shot or knows someone who's been killed or knows someone who's gone through something. It's terrifying. So a lot of people have been asking about a place called Orania. They're asking if you've ever heard of it and if you've visited it.
We went to Orania and so we were thinking of publishing it as an individual video. We've got the video published, but I wanted to save it for the documentary. Yep. Really interesting place. It's actually one of the only, so before people freak out and say, oh, this is horrific, how could you ever talk about this in any sort of light way? A lot of South Africa, the majority of some of the best farming areas in South Africa actually are known as Black ancestral tribal lands, where only Black people can live there, only Black people can own land there, only Black people can have it. And there was a small town that said, okay, we want a small town. It's like you could drive through it in 20 minutes, not even less than that. Yep. That said, we want an area that is Afrikaner Boer only. And so they got it, and it's called Orania. Actually, I'm going to be right back. I have the currency. It's really interesting. Yeah, they basically created their like own state, and it's a Boer Afrikaner state only. Here's one of their dollars. You want to talk real free market hours? They have advertising space on the back of their money. But sorry, you probably couldn't see that because it's too bright.
It's an actual money from an actual ethno.
It's an ethno state dollar, but it's a very bizarre area. I've never been anywhere in the world like it. The government office has a picture of Andrew Breitbart on the wall. I was like, what is this? It's actually a very, like, just objectively speaking, it's a really nice area. They have almost no crime there. It's vastly hated by most of South Africa, though, despite the fact that they've got all these areas that are Black tribal ancestral homelands that no white people can own. So it's obviously, I can see like the worrisome aspect of it. The whole place, even though apartheid is over, self-segregation is a huge thing that has happened for years and years and years and continues to happen to this day, to the point where people want their own land where they stay. And it really makes you wonder, is there a possible solution for the future of this country? I mean, we can talk about dreams and what we want and what we hope for all we want, but I mean, look at being there and being on the ground and seeing how people self-segregate and the tribalism and everyone there. I mean, even the Indian communities that have moved in there have their own area that they all live in. It's like, oof. I mean, it's really not so much it's certainly, I guess you could call it a rainbow nation in the sense that everyone's kind of split up into their own little group where they stay. It's very bizarre being on the ground there. And it sucks because I can feel myself like almost getting nervous talking about this because I know I'll get in trouble for just saying what is just factual on the ground. I'm sorry. I know people get upset and get angry to say these people self-segregate, but it's just a fact. Like, go there yourself, check it out yourself. That's not, I don't know.
A few people are asking, is self-segregation normal?
Yeah, I guess it's kind of normal everywhere, isn't it? Like it's certainly in places where you have mass immigration without assimilation at all. Like I know I grew up in BC, British Columbia, And you had areas like Surrey, BC. Anyone from there knows that's where a lot of the Indian community is. And they have schools where there's no Chinese kids, there's no black kids, there's no white kids. It's just people who are Indian that go to those schools. You have places that are kind of white areas like Langley. Langley, BC is like 84% European or something. Then you have areas like in Richmond and stuff, which are like almost, in fact, all the shops there are Chinese, Korean. I mean, yeah, I think you see it all over the world. Just in South Africa, with the amount of the crime rates that they're at and the amount of different tribes that there are, and the government being so heated as it is, unlike kind of the Canadian governments, it's a far more of a powder keg than any of these. Like in places in BC, like maybe every once in a while they'll say, we don't serve you because you're not from our group or whatever, but no one's really violent to each other because of skin color. In South Africa, it's quite different, I'd say.
Yeah. One of the last questions before we move on to questions specifically about when the documentary is coming out,
yeah,
what's going to be in it. How many years before a civil war actually breaks out in South Africa?
I'm really hesitant to answer questions about civil war and genocide. So the way I've always described it is, if things continue on the path they're going right now, as in if the racial hatred from the government continues the way it is now, if the ignorance, the complete denial from the mainstream media happens the way it is now, if the land grabs continue to the point where they take all of the land from whites without compensation, if things continue the way they are going, I think something along the lines of genocide or civil war it's inevitable. And anyone with any sense of political inclination can look at situations where this has happened before in the world and say all of the key factors for this to happen are in place. And I say it's a big if, because obviously the hope is that there will be some sort of intervention. There will be some sort of change in the government. There will be some sort of, I'm always hesitant to put my faith in governments, certainly global governments. But I mean, if they do their damn jobs, which they might not, because we're talking about white people, I'd like to think this could all be diverted.
Yeah.
But I can't predict the timeline. The Sightlanders told us they think within the next 5 years. That's their prediction. They're on the ground. They're more than we were. I'm not a prophet, like I said. I went on the ground there to help bring back the stories of the people there for everyone watching here and to learn about it, so I would be more educated to talk about it myself. But I still have so much to learn and so much to figure out. But even though we don't know for sure, I still think it's important to talk about that, because I've always talked about this idea of how many in the mainstream media see it as it's better to be wrong too late than right too early. And that's the idea that, I mean, if someone says genocide is coming or civil war is coming too early, everyone will say they're exaggerating, they're a crackpot, this, that. They'll never be allowed to do any mainstream media shows ever again, da 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 da. But if you say, darn, wish I had called it 5 years after it happens, then you're totally in the cool, because that's what the majority of the mainstream media will be saying anyway. So I'll obviously, if I say things and I'm inaccurate, it could really hurt my ability to report on things in the future, and it could really hurt how serious people take this documentary, and I want them to take it seriously. So even if that means I have to be more careful when I talk about it, then I mean, obviously I have my own opinions, but I try to be a little careful, because I think this is too important of a topic to inject my theories and whatnot, you know?
Yeah.
Does that make sense? I'm sorry. I'm like I said, I'm trying to be very careful with my opinions versus what can be said for sure.
And you're handling people's really severe personal stories as well.
Yes,
after
exactly.
Going there. It's people's lives. It's not just statistics. It's not just opinions. It's after meeting all of those people. It's like Janine, like the white squatter camps. It's real lives that you're talking about, and they have to be represented.
Exactly. I don't want that to be. The mainstream media already want to reject what I'm doing. They've been forced to talk to me because I was vindicated so quickly. I was vindicated so quickly in that, the policy actually went through. And how crazy is that? How crazy is it to think that you have all of these potential bills going on all the time, and the media reports on them constantly, but they wait until the very last second and say shocking when this land grab happens, and none of them were talking about it. They wait until the very last second. So much like issues of free speech, and even like if you look at migration, lots of people were calling myself and others talking about it, like Stefan Molyneux and such crackpots. And then it turns out the European Union and UN statistics come out and show 87% or something. I don't know. It's not. I don't know the exact statistics, but the vast majority were economic migrants and from non-refugee nations, and then we're proven right, and no one really cares after. It sucks. But because kind of the vindication came so quickly, the mainstream media has been forced to talk to me in a sense, but otherwise they're trying to do everything they can to ignore this documentary, ignore that it exists, ignore the problem. And I don't want to make it easy for them to reject it by throwing out theories.
Yeah, and it's what the far left media do about everything as well. We don't want to go down to that. But
they say Trump is going to take away all of women's rights. He's going to gas all the immigrants, whatever it may be. And for some reason, they're okay to say all of that, even though there's not even remotely any evidence for it. But the right has to be a lot more careful when they talk about things. That doesn't mean don't talk about it, though. We still should. But because otherwise, talk about it the right way.
Yeah, the way it should be said.
Yeah.
I know, just talking to you, I know that there isn't a specific date that we have for releasing it, but the majority of questions are saying, when is it going to be released? We have to address it.
The thing is, like, it's been a month, and I keep for like the whole month, I keep saying it's going to be out in a month. Well, that was the issue. It should have been out in a month when I said that first, but my ban happened. It's been like hectic in our personal lives. I really shouldn't be talking about this, but I'm going to talk about it anyways. I know my web guys might kill me, whatever, but I actually had massive problems with the website for Farmlands and just my online presence, because I had huge DDoS attacks on the website and just huge people trying to hack into it and take down the Farmlands website and videos and everything. And it was crazy. Like, the security company that we got to help with it was actually saying, like, the how large this attack is, like, we don't think it's a private individual. We think it's like could be even a government or something. And I know that obviously that sounds like crackpot theory, but I'm just saying what has been told to me. Like, this looks like someone with a lot of influence and money has been attacking your site. Don't know if it's government, don't know if it's who it is, but
it's not a group of leftists, or
it's not just like a few crazy people, it's like very serious people have been going after.
With very, very, very powerful resources. Someone with a huge amount of assets.
And it's been a bit of a nightmare from behind things. I don't want to get into it that much more because I'm trying to deal with it. And I don't mean to, I really don't like making excuses, but like, that's just like a factual thing that's been happening. So yes, within a month is the goal, and we are really getting close to finishing. But oh man, it's been obviously the whole banning, everything having to. But Kaylin is here now with me in Toronto. This is the last time we are going to probably see each other before the documentary is done, because we're done all of the recording, filming, everything. So hopefully within a month. I know I said that. Don't kill me, but it will be out.
One of the biggest uncertainties was that we didn't know when we would actually be able to physically get all the footage together, as in finish filming it. And now that we have done that, the filming is done. That's the biggest stage.
Now it's the editing.
And now, I mean, it's really not going to be delayed like it was before, because it's just as they can put everything together.
Yeah.
All of it's been,
it's been scary because we've never made a documentary before. Of course, we aren't experts on it, but we promised you guys a documentary. We've gotten so much support, and we've done everything right, I think, up until this point.
Oh, yeah.
And so it's going to happen. It's going to happen, and it's going to be, I think it's pretty good.
Michael has just said, what is the status of the documentary completion, and how much funding do you still need? That's a super chat question.
So a lot of, I actually think we managed to pay off the flights and our travel and everything, which was super amazing. Thank you guys a million. A lot of the funding that has happened now, obviously, Kaylin flying out here, that kind of stuff. So people continuing funding is fantastic because there's always bits and pieces of things that still need to be put together.
Yeah.
But yeah, a lot of funding and stuff that is going to support us is now going towards the next project. The next big thing. And I mean, there are still costs for farmlands, obviously, but you guys have been really, really amazing in supporting us for that. Always looking towards the next documentary. Obviously, I think it's just going to be your living costs for editing.
Just editing costs.
Yeah, editing costs. Which, yeah, we did hire like a really good computer for doing that, but I think you've got a new one now.
Yeah, we ended up just buying one through other stuff, but just through other, like, just figuring everything out. But it's the amount of computing power that you need to edit a 40-minute documentary is actually completely insane.
It's shocking.
You need so we have like
because it's all in 4K.
About 10 terabytes of footage to put together. I mean, it's a huge like industrial project.
And we just kept having to get those. I don't know. I've never really filmed in 4K before. All of my stuff has been. I really apologize to you guys because all my stuff has been vlogged, and I'm like, why do you guys need all these massive hard drives? And you're like constantly throughout the whole trip in South Africa, we need to go to a tech store and get another hard drive. And I'm like, can't you just put it on Dropbox or something? And you guys would both look at me like I was absolutely insane. Like that would take like 40 years.
Oh yeah. I mean, yeah. So the tech is absolutely massive for it, but we've got the tech now, we've got everything ready, all the resources are put together. It's literally just a matter of putting all the pieces into one and getting it done. So it's not going to be delayed like it was before. So my
worst nightmare is becoming someone like these people on the left, like the Anita Sarkeesians that always promise these big documentary projects and these huge we're gonna do a 20-part series on video games or something, and then it just never happens. I would actually just kill myself if I did that, so don't worry. I don't know.
I think it's good because most documentaries take about most documentaries take about 8 to 12 months to bring out. And we only finished filming like 3 months ago, the stuff in South Africa, and it's almost ready. So it's already ahead of like the majority of mainstream documentaries, which is really, really exciting. But one of the most common questions as well is, what is the format that people can get the documentary when it comes out? Is it going to be a DVD? Is it going to be online? Is it going to be on Netflix? Is it going to be paid? How are people going to be able to watch it?
Netflix.
Is it going to be on Netflix?
It's going to be on Netflix. So many people have asked me, they're like, Lauren, are you going to submit it to
Should we just say yes festival? So that hundreds of people give Netflix abuse from the left?
No.
And Netflix just gets terrified.
Oh my gosh, we should publish a whole like preview with the whole Netflix logo and pay for it to be on the top of YouTube.
Yes, and let's print it on DVDs and put it in like all the mainstream HMV stores, and just have all of them get like abuse.
Get everyone to boycott them.
Say it's going to be shown on the BBC, on ITV, and just have them all get terrorized by the left. No, it's...
Oh, you get me in too much trouble, Kaylin. If you guys only knew the half of it. What was I going to say? So we've had ideas about having DVDs and stuff, but none of it, like, you guys are the people who have donated and helped make this project happen. This is a documentary. Do you know how crazy it would be if I said, all right, now go buy your documentary on iTunes? I'd be a witch. I'd be an absolute witch. The point of this project is for people, as many people as possible, to see what is going on in South Africa. It was crowdfunded for that purpose. It was created by us for that purpose of exposing what is going on. And the point of it is for as many people to see what is happening as possible. So it will be published for free on YouTube. And just for the sake of a lot of people who have supported it and are really, really big just supporters and people who want to show their friends or whatever, we will probably have DVDs made, not really for profit kind of thing, just so people can have them as physical copies.
I looked through the cost price and I looked through us generating DVDs, and what we're going to sell them for is just basically the cost of producing them. So just to go back,
cost of producing.
Yeah, just so that people, because there's a lot of people who actually don't have good internet and things like that, and who traditionally watch
genuinely would want. Yeah, we got to get the boomer audience too. We love you guys.
So we want to bring that to them so that it doesn't basically at like the absolute lowest price just for them to get it to their house.
Yeah, but like I said, the biggest thing about this project, you will never, if anyone publishes anything behind a paywall that says farmlands, it's not us. It's not us.
Can you imagine someone doing that? That would be crazy. Like
we'd go find them.
Yeah, putting
We'd go find them and reprimand them because violence is wrong, kids.
Okay.
Yeah, but this is for the sake of spreading the word about what is going on, not for the sake of making money.
Exactly.
You guys crowdfunded that. It's not. Yeah.
That's the majority of questions about farmlands. The rest are basically other variations about it. Other variations on those questions. So I would say, I mean, hopefully everyone's had their questions answered. All the super chats that weren't relevant to this will.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I didn't answer every super chat. I'm not an expert at the super chat question thing. Did we answer this one?
See, look, they're all like this.
Thank you, Loki.
And
eFitsG. Thank you very much, guys. I really appreciate it. Yeah, thank you so much to everyone who came and participated in this stream and is spreading the word. Go harass your local politicians. Go tweet at Donald Trump. Go find journalists who are within the White House press briefing room and tell them to start doing their freaking job, because I can't go down to DC every day. That's, I just get a vibe from that place. It's spooky.
When's the last time you went there?
I was recently, I told you. I actually went down there because I wanted to ask about South Africa, but Trump was out and I had to do something for my book that's going to be coming out in a bit, but I can't even be bothered to think about that right now. I have to finish this first. Anyways, go and do that if you guys want to help at all. That is like one of the best ways. Like I said, my faith in politicians has been just up a tiny bit since my trip to the European Union. Obviously, they have as many shackles and tape on their mouths as we do, kind of as the public, especially within that sphere. But there are people within there fighting for us. And obviously, hopefully we'll be able to show some normies, show the rest of the world what is going on in South Africa with this documentary. And it all has happened with your help. And of course, Galen and George, you guys have done phenomenal work with the film work and production work. It's just been beautiful. So just huge thank you to you guys. And thank you so much to all of the people in South Africa who welcomed us into their homes, who told us their stories, who cried with us, ate with us, laughed with us. Obviously, you will always be in our hearts, and hopefully we can make some change, if anything, at least more like show the world what kind of people the Afrikaner people are, and show the truth about what happened, if anything, because the truth deserves to be told. It's more important than anything.
It will be told. The stories of the people we saw will be told exactly as they are. They've already said how much they appreciate. Janine has contacted you so many times saying that she can't believe all the support she's received.
Thank you guys so much.
Yeah, it's made a huge difference to their lives, and the support from these guys to them personally has actually, they've said it's changed their lives. It's incredible.
Yeah. So I think we'll probably end it there. God bless everyone, and thank you so much.